Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, and today I want to talk to you about 3D printed models. Do note, 3D printed models, not 3D printing models. So, Play on Tabletop, our Lord and Saviour Nick, Nick from over there, recently did a video which was just discussing 3D printed models and his views on them, and he really focused on kind of the cost, the expense of should you get into this, how much does it cost to buy a printer to print models, a break-even point. I think it was like, was it 600? No. You had to print a lot of models before you hit like a break-even point, which is cool. And that was really interesting to see what the actual break-even point is when it comes to the cost. However, he didn't really talk a huge amount about, is a 3D printed model any good? Perhaps you're like where I was just a few years ago in thinking that 3D printed models are still kind of, low quality, and you can tell that they are not good models and they have lots of lines on them and all this sort of stuff. And I kind of wanted to show you, I'm not going to say they're not, I want you to see for yourself. So Privateer Press makes a game called Warmachine, and all of their models are 3D printed, and so I want to unbox one of their models and then compare it to the same model but painted, and let you have a look and see for yourself from a quality perspective, but also just talk about it in general, because if you're looking at Kill Team, then you've probably seen online there's a particular content creator called Station Forge, who basically every time there's a new Kill Team, they go ahead and create their own custom sculpts for that Kill Team. They've got loads out there. If you just go on Etsy and just type in Station Forge, there will be lots of sellers that are offering what they sculpt as a 3D printed service. Because that's one of the big things for me. I don't have an interest in 3D printing. I like the models that 3D printing creates, and I like a lot of what Station Forge does, but I don't want to buy a 3D printer. I don't have the space, I don't have the correct fuming regulations, so I don't really want to do that. But I like some of it, and I like the idea of being able to like digitally kit bash, so take part of a sculpt from here, part of a sculpt from there, stick them together, and you've converted something, even though it's digital before you print it. But I don't want to learn that. I don't want to learn that skill. It's a separate hobby. My hobby is playing the game. Like, very genuinely, my hobby is getting at the table, playing the game. That's what I want to do. And everything outside of that just kind of gets in the way. It's why I refuse to learn how to use an airbrush, even though I have no doubt it would make things faster for me. It's another hobby. It's a hobby within a hobby within a hobby, similar to how 3D printing is a hobby within a hobby within a hobby. Anyway, that's kind of me done on that. Let's look at some models, shall we? I suppose what I want to show off here is not just the models I have in front of me and how applying paint to them kind of does that increase or lower the quality, etc., etc. But also, I would say, what's the phrase I'm looking for? You'll see in a moment. You'll see in a moment. It all makes sense. However, before we get to the unboxing and the preview showing of all of these cool Dusk models from Warmachine here, I would like to say that if you're subscribed to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. Wow, wasn't that incredibly wholesome? If you want some more wholesomeness in your life, do consider liking, subscribing, and commenting right now. Okay, let's dive into an unboxing. How do we do that? It's the overhead button. So, Privateer Press sent me this, because I begged them for it, to clarify. This is the Shadow Flame Shard preview box. Every now and again, when they release a new faction, before they release the faction wholesale, they release a preview box, which is just 3 models. It's 2 kind of big Warcaster models, like big Warlock models. I'm using the wrong terms. War Beast or Warjack models. The big stompy robots. And then one of their, like, magic casters. So, I will say, this is going to sound weird, but when it comes to unboxings, the fact that you get a miniature turn up already completely done compared to on a sprue does make it feel a touch anticlimactic. Here we go. this is exactly how the model comes out. I have not opened this box before, and I just want to stand up so I can give you a close-up. This model is finished. There is, as you can tell, there is nothing for me to attach to the rest of the model. It's good to go. I don't need to build anything, and this is how all of Privateer Press's stuff comes now. They did have a beginner phase where you had to still attach arms, but otherwise, nope, complete models. Just come straight out. If you wanted to, I could just stick it to the base and that is ready to go in a game. So there you go. Now do note, it's not that there is no cleanup. If we look here, you see there's, like at the back here, there are these little supports. You could either clipper them or scalper them off, but there we go. Right, now can I find somewhere to kind of show off what level of striation you might see? Not really. Okay, so can we see here? I'll try and get it in the correct angle for you. All I'm trying to say is that when it comes to something that if you're not familiar with 3D printing you might be concerned by, is that there are little striation lines all over it. And that's where the 3D printer has to go up a step to print the next layer, which typically will be 0.03 mil or 0.04 mil when you're printing with resin like this. Obviously you're printing SLA, not FDM for these sorts of miniatures. But there you go. So that's how all of their models come. Cool. Now that we've seen that, right, I have painted up already another one, because Privateer Press made a mistake and sent me two. So, great. Here we go. Now the reason I'm showing you a painted one is because I want to show you my painting is all contrast, right? And this is how a contrast painted version of this looks. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because contrast paint of any painting type is going to notice striations. So we're looking at him again. I'm trying to just show you every angle. So you can decide, this model comes out in a single piece. Can you notice striation lines? If so, I can't. I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm sure there are somewhere, because you know it is a factor of 3D printing. There are marks somewhere, but apparently on this particular one, they're just kind of. Can we see them right there? Because I dry brushed with that silver, you see a little tiny catching of the striation lines. There you go. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that because that's the level that they come at. That's kind of what you're looking at when you're thinking what size striation lines will occur on these models. And that's it. Like, the original, these models are now, in my opinion, a contender for, hold on, this is a weird angle for me to talk to you at. These models are now a contender for GW models. They are able to hold the detail well enough that you can get some very interesting things going on, and you can sculpt to a small enough point that you can put like little rivets. I'll show you. You probably saw it on there. I don't need to show you again. You can put tiny rivets on things. You can do undercuts. Oh, that's a thing I should talk about, isn't it? So I don't have a good example of it. Privateer Press, I know, does another faction where they've been able to do some things. Oh, I can probably show you on this guy here. So this doesn't look as interesting as the other thing, but again, this guy, now he actually comes in more pieces just because he's a larger model, but they are able to do, I can't see it, never mind. Pass, don't know what I was going to say on that one. So what they are able to do is put in magnet holes. So I can't really show it off particularly well on this guy, but all of their models like this are magnetized. There you go. And of course, how are you able to do that? Oh, have I glued his head on? Okay, well that's on me, that's not on Privateer Press there. But there you go. So you see magnet holes that are built into these, and then you just glue the magnet in, and then they just snap into place. I obviously need to figure this guy out a bit more, don't I? That's on me. And that is able to be done because of 3D printing technology, allowing you to give you enough of an undercut when you print something to be able to notice it. If I hold up this guy, again, I don't know, I just feel like I should show it. You see, you've got these, you're able to get down to the detail level of a tiny little rivet. Yep, there you go, I just think that's cool. And I guess I'm kind of done talking about 3D printing now. It comes out in a single model. It looks cool AF. The quality's good enough in regards to holding a detail. And these guys look like night elves, so that's how I painted them, and literally what more could I want in this world, you know? Yeah, so I don't have much more to say on that. There you go. And now, I suppose there are negatives. There are negatives. And I would say that one of the negatives to this 3D printed resin is a brittleness. So if you're a really big fan of converting, let's say, and doing kit bashes, then just straight up, this is not as easy a material to kit bash with. I'm just now running through some photographs I took of some close-ups of these. So because I understand that my Kill Team followers aren't going to be aware, but what I'm showing here isn't, not all of this is released yet. So I just wanted to show it off for the Warmachine players that are hyped to see these guys up close. So yeah, it's a very brittle material. That doesn't mean it's going to break on you, although it might, right? But you know, it's not indestructible. But when you try to convert and kit bash, it's not going to be as easy as GW plastic. And that's just the way it is. It is what it, hold on, have I really just, I should probably hold it on the cool looking models first. As you can tell, I wanted them to be Warcraft Night Elves, so there you go. Why an orange cat? I don't know. I have no answers for you. I just needed to do something. There you go. Yeah, so it's just straight up not as easy to convert and friendly to convert as GW plastic. Does that mean you can't convert? No, you still can, but it's just not going to be as easy. Certainly when I've converted in the past with GW plastic, it's incredibly easy, and I don't do anything complicated at all. I just go ahead and get my clippers, and I don't know why, I just love elves with I don't know what the term is, my Americans out there will know. It's a rifle with a 6-shooter barrel in it. I assume there's a term for that in the real world. But yeah, making elves use rifles, just, I like that. I don't know why. Anyway, you know, with GW plastic, I've always just been very, I will grab my scalpel and my clippers and I will just hack away at it until I've done what I need to do. With this, there's just a higher likelihood of when you go to snap a piece off, it snaps off more than you want. But honestly, if you're at that point anyway, you're probably fine with just putting in a little bit of liquid green stuff or you know, the sprue goo. So yeah, I don't think it's a real issue, but it is something that needs to be noted because some people love to kit bash and convert. So you got to point it out. Cool. Anyway, that's it. I suppose if I had to say, I wanted to talk about that as well. Okay, hold on, we're not quite done. Sorry. Right, there's also, I wanted to point out a larger piece. So normally when you think of terrain, you'd be thinking of, you'd swap from an SLA machine to an FDM machine. Now an FDM machine actually has a lot of really good qualities when it comes to like other reasons. Basically it's a lot more durable. You know, if you've got an FDM piece, you could kind of like throw it against a wall and it's probably going to do okay. But if you do that to an SLA piece, the SLA piece is going to shatter everywhere. However, Privateer Press has gone with sticking with the resin, sorry, the SLA. Same stuff that's used for the miniatures. I believe they've increased the step size on it, but it's still SLA. And that's quite interesting, and I like it because, you know, it doesn't matter what size of the model I've bought is, I want it to be good quality from a detail holding perspective, which is what the SLA gives you. Whereas the FDM, I'm sure you've seen 3D printed terrain in FDM, and I don't think it's good enough for me personally. You know, like, yeah, 3D printed FDM, although it serves a purpose and is totally viable to use as terrain, because who cares what your terrain looks like, I think it's a little bit, it looks 3D printed, right? And so if you're, I should have said this at the beginning, if you're thinking that 3D printed is that, right, that FDM, really big, obvious striation lines throughout the whole model, and I'm going to have a little tiny model that looks like that, we're past that. We're past that step. Even on amateur, like £150 3D printed machines, you get this quality, not that old FDM style. Again, different purposes. FDM with that kind of step size and all that stuff is going to be generally stronger and lighter than this, but there you go. Cool. Well, that's it. Basically, if you, I just like Warmachine and I like Night Elves. There you go. And they do all of their models 3D printed, which is a super interesting topic of discussion, all of its own right. But hopefully, when you saw, you know, this guy come out in a single piece, I mean, how many pieces would this be for a GW kit? I don't know, a lot. At least 15. This would be a 15-piece kit, maybe a 20-piece kit under GW. You know, the head would be 3 different parts. The sword would be a single bit, the sheath would be a single bit, the tail would be 1 or 2 bits. I mean, and that's, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, some people enjoy that hobby aspect of building. I used to, but my man, there's something actually quite nice about just putting out a finished model and putting it on the table and saying, I'm done. So, I'm ready to go. You know, I think there's something in that, like, can we see the flexibility in that? Oh, lovely, lovely. You know, if Warmachine was a smaller format, in a sense, so whatever, 10 models instead of however many, it would be quite interesting because you could do a blind box tournament. So you each get 1 box, which is whatever number of models, and then you just unbox it right there and put it out, and it's ready to go. You don't have to assemble anything apart from sticking it to bases. So it would take you, what, 5 minutes to go from unboxed to ready to play? You can't do that with GW. You can't do that with most things, in fact. Anyway, cool. I'm just quite excited for Warmachine, and I'm going to stop this now. But if you have made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. I hope you enjoyed looking at my painted models. I'm sick at the moment, and I'm going on holiday on Sunday, so I'm gone, but I enjoyed painting Night Elves. There you go. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Make sure to stay hydrated and stay safe. Bye.